Shalom, this video is about kind of cliff notes to Jewish melodies. I don't read music and I don't have a great ear, but I love Jewish music and I love the different sounds of the liturgy at different times and the different melodies for Bible cantillations. And so I've tried to learn them as best I could given those handicaps. I wanted to share with you the basics. Now, these are Eastern European traditions. A lot of music being used in non-Orthodox synagogues today throughout America is music from folk singers like Debbie Friedman, who was just appointed to the cantorial school faculty of Hebrew Union College. But the basic melody system I'm going to teach is Eastern European and goes way before, mostly before the century or the early part of the century. And you can see from the basic music that you try and create different moods based on the different times. For example, the normal daily melody for example, the main prayer of the Amida goes like this: Baruch Atah Hashem Elokeinu Melech Haolam, kind of very plain. That same melody on Shabbat, the same words on Shabbat would be sung like this: Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu Elokei Avoteinu Elokei Abraham Elokei Yitzchak Elokei Yaakov El Hagadol Gibor Hanora El Elyon. You can hear the difference between Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam and Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu. Okay, then Shabbat afternoon has even a different melody. When I was growing up, there was a cereal called and the melody for the jingle on TV was this: the one and only cereal that goes with the shape of animals. And that's the melody for Sabbath afternoon. Maybe the person who wrote that ditty was an observant Jew. So it would be Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha Od Yalu Chasela. So just to review, and maybe just learn a couple of words and then of each, and then you can basically get the basic melodic chant daily. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu V'Elokei Avoteinu versus Shabbat. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu versus Shabbat afternoon. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha Od Yalu Chasela. Now, that is, and then of course, High Holidays has different melodies altogether, and festivals have different melodies. Now, for candle lighting, for example, the normal candle, there's a lot of different tunes for candle lighting, like, but the one we don't do is the Hanukkah candle lighting, which a lot of people by mistake do because that's the only one they do. And on the Hanukkah tape, I did the candle lighting blessing for Hanukkah. She'asa nisim lavoteinu bayamim ha'hem. So that's basically the melody that we don't do on Shabbat. Ba'azman hazeh baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. So that's Hanukkah. Don't do that on Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Or for holidays, that works too. You can see the different melody pattern. Now, there's a whole different set of melodies for Bible readings. Now, there are little notes, trup markers, in a printed Bible Jewish text, which is sung. Now, it's the same notes all the time. Little squiggles are all the same, but they're sung differently depending on the Bible part that you're reading. I've mentioned before that if you go to bible.ort.org, you can hear the Eastern European basic melody for Torah reading and Haftarah reading. But I'll just sing it for you. Now, this is one version of Eastern European, kind of the main one, that's done all the time except on the high holidays. And here's the passage: V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. Try that again. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha. On the high holidays, it's sung like this: Adonai pakadat tzara kasher amar vayehi Adonai. Sounds like that. You can see the basic difference. Now, the prophetic portions that are done every Sabbath and holiday have a different melodic line completely. It's in minor, people tell me. And here's the basic sound to that. Kumi ari kiva arech ukavod Adonai alayach zara ki neachoshech da 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 da. That's the melody for Haftarah. So you can see Torah v'ahavta eid Adonai Elohecha, or High Holiday Torah Adonai pakadet tzara kasher amar, or Haftarah Kumi ari kiva arech ukavod Adonai alayach zara. Now, then there are other books that are chanted at holiday time. 3 of them have the same melody. That is Song of Songs, which is done at Passover, Ruth, done at Shavuot, and Ecclesiastes, which is done on the holiday of Sukkot. And that sounds like this. Shira Shirim, Asher Li Shlomo, Yishakeni B'mot Yerushalayim, Zadodi, Hine Zeba. You can see a different melody. And this is just basic Eastern European, although there's a lot of nuances and differences. And then the book of Lamentations, Echa, has its own melody, unique to only that book, and a few verses that are done for the Torah and Haftarah on the week before Echa. Very sad melody because it's a very sad book. Echa yashva bada da 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 da. Now again, this is just kind of general. Each little trup marker, like a musical note above each word, tells you how to sing it. The markers are all the same, they're just sung differently depending on which book it is. Now for Lamentations, that melody goes for the first 2 and last 2 chapters. The middle chapter has a different melody. And then finally you have the Scroll of Esther, which has its own melody, more kind of a festive melody all by itself. So hope that helps. Those are a little bit about Jewish melodies. Of course, nowadays there's a lot more folk music being used in non-Orthodox synagogues. I'll tell you a funny story. An Israeli came to, this is probably just apocryphal, Israeli came to Orthodox synagogue in a beautiful voice, and he wanted to know if he could lead high holiday services. And they asked him if he was familiar at all with American music. He said, absolutely not. So as a joke, one of the guys told him that they used a particular melody in their synagogue, and they taught him the music to Silent Night. He had no idea what it was. And so he got up there to lead services in this Orthodox synagogue on high holidays, and he began using the melody to Silent Night. I showed you that, it got a big chuckle, and then I'm sure it's not true because it would be too embarrassing to do that and irritating the congregation, but kind of a funny story about Jewish music. And as this kind of folk music worked its way into more and more to the American Jewish scene, not sure what will happen to the classic Jewish melodies, although it definitely hasn't affected yet the Bible cantillations. So anyway, a little bit of cliff notes on Jewish melodies.